Daniel has secured rank 1. And I think to commemorate that, we need to take a look at some of the replays in the database that show games off his run to that rank 1 spot. So first replay here that we're going to take a look at is Daniel versus AyyJayy. Let's get into it. AyyJay's still in the top 10 for 1v1, so he's still way up there. And he's recently been signed by FaZe with his 3v3 team. And I think AyyJayy looked phenomenal in the most recent RLCS X event. But maybe Daniel's running a little bit of a counter here to AyyJayy. He's got the Rogue decal on, so maybe if AyyJayy sees this, he's going to be a little bit tilted, because Rogue do have a decent run against AyyJay's team in RLCS right now, off the back of Firstkiller's insane performances and the excellent supporting play of Turinturo and Taroko. Yeah, let's see what Daniel can do against him. Not long ago, AyyJayy was considered the best in North America for 1v1. He's still up there, but the young guns do be doing damage. No more so than Daniel, who has started off with a fast pace in this game. Pre-jump challenge from Daniel. What a read. He already knows AyyJayy is all about the aerial offense in ones, and he's not going to let him have it. He was up so early for this one. Shuts down another AyyJayy aerial play and goes up by 2 here. Who won the Daniel Drees match? Well, I did cast Daniel Drees not too long ago. If you don't want to have that spoiled, then you should stop listening right now. Yeah, Daniel won those games. Daniel's a machine. He's really, really solid in show matches, and now he's rank 1 NA, rank 1 world in 1v1. I think he could easily stay there. 3-0 up against AyyJayy. And have you guys ever seen AyyJayy looking so slow? I don't think I have. Like, Daniel's been faster than AyyJayy in this game so far. We're still early days, but AyyJay's in big trouble. Daniel snatches a boost right under his nose and makes it 4-0. Does Daniel stream? I don't know if Daniel streams, actually. He was in chat earlier. He might still be here. I don't think I've ever seen a Daniel stream myself. AyyJayy does stream. He's been streaming a lot recently. He's been popping off after joining FaZe. Daniel does stream. I think it's Daniel __ RL. Is it 2 underscores? It looked like 2 underscores when he typed in my chat earlier on. Yeah, Daniel's a scary ones player. He seems to really just not make any mistakes that are easily exploitable. It's the biggest problem when you play against him. He's got that same defensive style that Firstkiller has, where he's 100% comfortable letting players come at him and reacting to what they do, but he's also seemingly very comfortable going forwards and aggressing the ball in the midfield. That's something you can't really say about many players in the one scene. Very few players are comfortable defending in both directions, going away from the ball and towards it. But that's one of the things that Daniel's best at. The other thing is that, he seems to just have a super solid foundational offense to build on. If he's just not feeling too good about his flip resets on one day, on any given day, or if he's not feeling too good about his air dribbling plays, no problem. He's got a monster ground shot, he's got great ball carrying, he's got bounce dribbles, he's got a very well-rounded offensive repertoire. So yeah, extremely solid fundamentals, and also the ability to pop off. The list of players who have got that at their disposal, definitely a short one. I mean, I would have put AyyJayy in there before. I think AyyJay's got the fundamentals, but he definitely... I don't think he's as solid as players like FirstkillerR, players like Jory is in defense. And AyyJayy is up against it. I don't think he's as comfortable as those guys. But AyyJay's managed to get a couple goals back here. Still boost advantage going to Daniel the vast majority of the time. And now he's just testing the water in the near post there. Notice that he had the ball on the top of his car, but it was on the inside of the top of his car, so when AyyJayy flipped into it, he was still able to absorb most of that pressure. And there it is again. He's just testing AyyJayy, seeing what AyyJay's going to do, and eventually AyyJay's run out of boost and Daniel skips around him. That's a really clean dribble. Did I see the Arsenal vid against Daniel? I actually did not, no. What, did Arsenal make a video 1v1ing Daniel? Or did they do something else? What was that about? Let's see, AyyJayy finally gets a kickoff pressure play. But Daniel sees AyyJay's trying to slow the game down, and he's not having any off it. He just takes the ball away from him, and AyyJay's gone. That's game. AyyJay's done. He has had enough. That last challenge has actually got AyyJayy forfeiting with well over a minute left. Let's take another look at it. So Daniel, he can just see that AyyJayy doesn't really have any intention of quickly attacking here, and not really any method to quickly attack either. I mean, look how awkward that ball is. What's AyyJayy going to do? He can't really shoot that. I mean, when AyyJayy commits to being on the wall like this, there's no threat of a long shot. There's no threat of a heavy first touch into a long-range air dribble. Like, there's very few threats in that position. That's why Daniel's moved in here to challenge the ball. Because he just knows, well, if you're in that position, AyyJayy, I know you're not going to do anything with this because there's nothing you can do. So if AyyJayy wanted to get Daniel to back up here, he would have needed to make a more convincing fake run up to the ball. Like, if he just started boosting right now and drove towards the ball, Daniel would probably be forced to turn around because AyyJayy would be threatening something. He'd be threatening a long shot. But, I mean, when he does this, there's no threat. No threat at all. If he's right beside the ball, then fair enough. Maybe there's a bit of a threat because he can flip infield, have a somewhat open net to aim at on the recovery. But yeah, he was just fully committed to faking this, waiting for Daniel to back off. He's thinking Daniel's not going to come in here. Oh, he actually is. And to make matters worse, Daniel just scored it. So yeah, AyyJay's had enough of this. He just really didn't get a chance to ever get his offense going in this game. Daniel pressuring him relentlessly, getting boost advantages for himself, and really making the most of them. Clinical performance. Extremely impressive. Very difficult to see any weaknesses in his game. Let's get into the second game here. This time, it's Daniel against Wizz, the guy who was rank 1 equal with Khaled not too long ago. Daniel's gone one better and overtaken Khaled. Khaled's just been chilling at 17-13 the whole time, watching all these NA youngsters fighting around him. This will be interesting because Wizz has shown us in his recent rank games that he's incredibly quick, and he's also got a very, very solid defensive 1v1 game. The one thing that I do want to mention though is that Daniel seems to be a lot more comfortable attacking his opponent when his opponent has the ball than Wizz does. Wizz really just got a lot of success for himself by shadowing, by reacting, and reacting accordingly to what his opponent does. But Daniel's really good at, like I said, defending proactively. Oh dear, Wizz just gets dunked on. This is what I'm talking about though. Daniel just doesn't give him any space. He knows that, well, I think Wizz is probably going to just go for a ball carry here. So he challenges. Reads the game perfectly, gets a goal off of it. And that was a position where Wizz was technically in control. Wizz technically had an advantage there because he had good boost total, had the ball under control. But Daniel just knew. He called his bluff. Thought, you're not going to move that early, and I'm not going to let you slow play. And yeah, great decision making. Oh, no way. Well, Daniel's pinched in on this ball off the corner. We have to rewind here and see what exactly happened here. How intentional was this? Daniel pinches it in. It bounced on the corner. Wow. I mean, if that was planned, if that was calculated, that's absolutely insane. I think it was probably something that Daniel's doing and just hoping that it'll go in. And if it doesn't, then at least he's given himself a little bit of time to reposition anyway. So either way, it should be good. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Wizz definitely didn't mean that one. Huge fake after the reset. Wizz trying to utilize the wave dash recovery on the kickoff now to beat Daniel to the ball. Daniel not having any off it. He's not going to fall for Wizz shenanigans. Wizz was waiting for Daniel to flip away to the mid boost there, but Wizz never had a chance to dribble into Daniel's goal because Daniel didn't flip to mid boost. He just stayed on the ball. Seems like so far Daniel has had a perfect read on Wizz. One flip reset. Going for a second one. Wizz gets a little bit of a block on it. The bounce is kind to him. Wizz trying to just beat Daniel to the punch again. But really not having a lot of success as he does so. Daniel's pressure is immense. Just putting himself so close to the ball time and time again, and the amount of pressure that that's putting on Wizz is forcing Wizz to rush, and he just doesn't have any time to do what he wants to do. Well, finally he gets an opportunity and he's messed it up. Wizz struggling very much so in this game, down 6-1. And when you compare the mechanical ability of Wizz in this matchup, the speed of Wizz in this matchup compared to the stuff he was capable of in the other replays we've casted of him, you see there's a big difference, because Daniel's just bringing the worst out of him, applying like a lot of pressure on him. And I think that that is, for me, the biggest reason why Daniel will pretty much always have control over the way this matchup goes, so long as Wizz doesn't change his playstyle. Oh, look at that. So Daniel knows that on Forbidden Temple, that's a solid wall. Now there's some maps, Manfield Night I think is one of them, where you can actually see through the goal, the near post, in both directions, because it's kind of a see-through material. Forbidden Temple is not one of those maps. It's a solid wall when you're looking on the at the goal from the outside. So Daniel knew there, well, if I just hide in the near post, there's nothing that Wizz can do. He can't see me. It's Wizz. Second time this game that he makes one of these saves, where the ball's 99% over the line, so that's impressive. But is he going to get anything going in offense? He's finally breaking free consistently. But time is running out, and with how well Daniel has played up until now, it's hard to see a comeback being possible. Let's see if he can make it happen. No goal on that play. I don't think the shot difficulty is sufficient. Like, Wizz is shooting, you know, a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10 difficulty shot there. Maybe even a 5. Say 5 or 6 out of 10 difficulty shot at Daniel. Daniel's the kind of guy who saves anything that's 8 or less. You gotta hit 9s and 10s at him if you're gonna have any chance of getting through. He's too consistent, too quick, too efficient with his movement to let anything less than that go through. Wizz is still taking his time, showing immense patience. And there's a much harder shot to save. In fact, it's not going to be saved. Wizz makes it a 4-goal game with a minute remaining here. You'd love to see Daniel versus First Killer. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think that the player who's most similar to the way Daniel plays would have to be First Killer for me, because they just have the same relentless mechanical pressure. That's a great flick by Wizz, but Daniel, again, reading him well, knew exactly where that flick's destination was. Wizz still has a chance here, and his air dribbles are doing work. Daniel unable to get goal side of this one, and now it's only a 3-goal gap. Wizz needs kickoff wins though if he's going to have any success completing this comeback. Starts to hide behind the ball a little, and Daniel not going for mid boost again, but Wizz will get it past him, so that's 11 seconds since the last kickoff. One more goal. Wizz still down, but not out of it just yet. The comeback is real. Tries to demo Daniel. Look at that. Creativity from Wizz. The execution didn't land. Now Daniel trying to let the clock win the game for him, but he's given Wizz one more opportunity. Will it be another air dribble? It's another huge flick, and Wizz nails it. Oh my goodness. Wizz with the comeback. It's a 1-goal game. I never thought this would be possible when Daniel was as composed as he was. It looks like Daniel is going to take it, but that's a solid effort by Wizz. You got to give him props for this. I think he played extremely well given the time constraints that were put on him. He didn't go too all in too early. Just knew exactly how hard to push to keep the comeback alive. Unfortunately for him, wasn't able to get it done. But yeah, great series, or a great game between these two. And I'm sure that after watching a game between these two, you'll be very happy to know that we've got another one. Let's take another look at Daniel versus Wizz. See how they're getting on. So Wizz, you were saying in chat there that you and Daniel have been going back and forth recently. Was I looking at the wrong replay selection? because I saw I think 8 or so games played between you two, and I think the game that I just showed there was the 4th game you played, and up until then Daniel had won every game. I think every game that you guys played in the last 2 days on ballchasing.com's database, at least. And I think he also won the next like 2 games after that, and now this is like the 7th game or something between you two. So I like, from what I could see on the database, Daniel won every game, and now this is game 7 to see if Wizz can get one on the board. Maybe there's just a lot of replays that aren't on the database. You didn't upload. Maybe Daniel only uploaded his wins. I don't know. But you know, on ball chasing at least, Daniel had more wins. That's for sure. I didn't actually scroll back too far. I only looked at the last 2 days. Daniel was on a huge winning streak. But yeah, at the end, you know, this is still, you know, at the end of a pretty big winning streak by Daniel on the database. Let's see if Wizz can fight back, if he can get one on the board. He stopped the Daniel streak. Dan did it more. Yeah, he must have. I mean, he's rank 1, so yeah, he must have had more. Or maybe if he didn't get more wins against you, that he had to be farming someone else. But yeah, I saw you guys played a lot, and Daniel definitely was doing really well at that point in time. But yeah, Wizz, how would you say historically this matchup goes? Have you played Daniel a lot throughout your ranked 1v1 career? I didn't scroll all the way back to the beginning of time for you two, so you've probably got a better idea than I have. Daniel says Wizz did not beat me once yesterday. I can confirm. Wizz says I thought I won once or twice at Daniel. Exposed. Well, I mean, I'm just telling you what I saw. I saw on the database there was 3 wins for Daniel, then there was the game we just casted, then there was 2 more wins for Daniel, then there's this game. So 6 win streak for Daniel on the database. This is game 7. Let's see if Wizz can get a win. It's pretty close. I mean, you can see that they are definitely a good match for each other. But I think Daniel's just the more aggressive of the 2 players and the more confident in the games that we've seen so far, certainly. So, you know, does Wizz need to adopt a little bit more of a mix-up in his defensive strategy? Because I think Wizz has got a phenomenal ability to react to shots that are coming at him. But you need more than just that to be, especially in show matches, especially in tournaments, but in ranked as well, you need to have the ability to attack the ball. When your opponent's ball carrying, they have to feel pressure. They have to feel like there's a real chance that you might be challenging at any moment. And, you know, this is just me saying what I've seen throughout my years of casting 1v1. The players who are able to put more pressure on their opponents tend to do well. The players who are able to instill a fear of a constant challenge being threatened tend to do very well. Not saying players can't do well with a purely defensive playstyle. We've seen Lionblaze win Goldmine NA with pretty much an entire... His whole focus was reactively defending against one of the most mechanical displays we ever saw in a ones tournament. Again, it was AyyJayy. He looked unstoppable. He was scoring every single shot that he took. Lionblaze was able to beat him by just defending on the goal line. So it can be done, but it's very, very hard. You're basically playing 1v1 hard mode if you opt to always back off and always allow your opponent to dictate the flow of the game and execute their strategy. Wizz defense holding strong. This is a great display of what I was talking about. When you put Wizz on the goal line, low boost, he does really well and he recovers and keeps his opponent working. Like you don't get free goals against Wizz. But Daniel's recoveries, Daniel's boost management, and his positioning have been more than equal to the defensive wall that he's up against here. Eventually, he's been able to break through that wall the majority of the time that he's attacking, because he just doesn't ever overextend. And yeah, it's a very, very scary level of performance that Daniel's on show here today. Wizz really, I think in this game and the last, has shown such a knowledge of the dimensions of his goal. So many times he's like saving at the absolute last second. But he's still trailing again. Daniel 3 goals up now. Wizz needs another comeback. That's a good 50-50 for him though. And he's going to get one back, so it's a much closer game than the first one we saw between these two. 6-4. I think with a minute to go, Wizz was down by, was it 4 goals? 3 goals? I think it was 4. 4 goals in the last game we saw, so he's halfway there already compared to this last game. But Daniel really has been dictating where this game's going to be played, and he's been pushing Wizz back into his goal. Wizz probably thinking it's about time I get to do something, but that heavy touch on the infield dribble has forced him to flick early because he wasn't really sure, and that's what I'm talking about. Daniel has established a threat in the midfield. He's established and he's conditioned Wizz to expect the occasional early challenge. So Wizz had to flick early there because he's thinking to himself, well, Daniel might be challenging me. I took a heavy touch. Daniel might be all over me. I've got to flick it. Turns out Daniel wasn't coming in, but that's what I mean. If you do it enough, your opponent will have to react to it. They're going to have to adjust, and they're going to have to start moving the ball earlier than they want to, sooner than they would rather be playing it in these positions. The lead is at 1 though. Wizz, patient as ever, and it looks like he might have done this. Daniel's out the play. Wizz responds to the turn and challenge. We're all evens at 15 seconds remaining. Solid recovery by Wizz. Daniel was closer to the ball. Wizz still able to beat him too, and Daniel's committed here. Very hard for that boost in the corner. Wizz will have space. Daniel threatening challenges. He doesn't want to go for a big boost because he knows that it would just be a goal, and oh my goodness! Wizz, bar down and on the ground. What a disaster. Daniel's been sealing on his all his ladder points, and then the crossbar is going to do that to him as well. It's been one of those days for our boy Wizz, but he can still get the win here. Just has to regain. But he's not going to like what he sees here. Daniel just puts a little bit of pressure on him, and eventually it amounts to too much. Wizz doesn't get the best clear on this. Let's take another look at what Daniel's able to do here. Just an early flick. Doesn't expect to get much out of that, but you never know. That's what you know. That's one of the reasons to just fire shots at your opponent and fire flicks at your opponent's near post top corner, because if they don't get a good touch on it, it's going to drop down in front of the goal. Think about what would have happened here if Daniel flicked to the far post top corner. If he flicks far post top corner there and Wizz gets a bad touch, it's going to bounce into the defensive corner. Wizz will probably be fine. But because Daniel's deliberately shooting at the near post top corner, the corner of the goal where Wizz is closer to, but the corner of the goal that's harder to clear the ball from. It's a timeless strategy. You know, this is something even 5 years ago, Marky Duda used to do this all the time. He would shoot the ball straight at his opponent at their near post, over their head, because when you do that, you're putting them in a position that is difficult to clear the ball from. And Wizz tried to get a catch on the back wall by looks of things. He's trying to catch that and then get another touch, but unfortunately, the first touch is too heavy. The ball hits his crossbar, and Daniel's there to score it. Of course, we have to take a look at this last shot in regulation as well. What on earth happened here? Yeah, I've been a coach before. I don't really enjoy it too much, so I don't really do it that often, but I have coached in Rocket League. Oh, wow. That last touch from Wizz completely surprised Daniel. Daniel was like getting ready to lunge into the center of the goal, expecting Wizz to shoot that way. Then look at that last touch, like straight towards the top corner. Daniel's not ready for that. Trips on the goalpost. Has to just hope that it doesn't go in. And it didn't. So Daniel able to get the wins and able to get rank 1 NA as a result. It looks like Wizz is still really far up there though. So although he lost quite a few points to Daniel, he must have got them back off someone else, because he's still third overall. Still third on Steam. Second NA. But yeah, these are two guys that are too young to play RLCS, and they're dominating the region. RW9, 13-year-old or 14 maybe, I can't remember, from Saudi Arabia. Like, look at all these youngsters crushing it in 1v1. It's great to see.